Oh, I forgot to say this. You should have your chat window up so you can hear because I'm communicating there.
Good morning, everyone. Sorry we're running a little late. I will begin this morning's service with Kansho, followed by sutra chanting, Sambujo, and Juseki. Good morning. First things are always a little kind of harried. This is our first day back to our Sunday morning schedule with our Dharma school service and our adult English service. And having gone through the summer with one service, a 1:10:10 service, it was fairly easy for us to do that. But now it's a little bit more challenging. We have people that will be being introduced during this service. But let's begin. We'll begin this morning's service again with the reading of Sambujo, followed by Juseki. So if you please join in the reading of Sambujo and Juseki. 내지나 주셔저기 행공원 분계 이슈가이 호소 고세 건너구호 정어 다이슈주 셈모시시권 번영이 사이먼 너선무슈버구헌 난내시순조만 거구이 상나이고 여무주무게지 전나주미 버쇼 난나쿠에리 어시사이쇼선 신간야고가 나이센노간노 어흐쇼테니 If you please join now in the reading of the golden chain. I am a link in Amida's golden chain of love that stretches around the world. I will keep my link bright and strong. I will be kind and gentle to every living thing and protect all who are weaker than myself. I will think pure and beautiful thoughts, say pure and beautiful words, and do pure and beautiful deeds. May every link in Amida's golden chain of love be bright and strong, and may we all attain perfect peace. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Again, welcome everybody. Welcome back to our Dharma School service. I hope everyone had a reasonably good summer. We've been faced with many challenges, with the pandemic, of course, and now with the fires that have been so destructive and has caused so much difficulties for the people in our communities. I hope you have been able to do okay. For the students going back to school, I know many of you are trying to do online classes, going to school remotely. I know many college students are also returning to classes online. There are so many challenges that we are faced as we begin this year's Dharma School Dharma School services. But I hope you'll know that coming to the temple, even remotely, I hope it'll be a place that you can feel is familiar and comfortable, and sharing time with your friends online and your teachers who have been preparing for this morning's beginning of this Dharma School year. Thank you very much for all of the students who continue to study the Dharma, to learn about the teachings of the Buddha, and to share your experiences. To the parents who support the Betsuing and this Dharma School program, thank you very much. And to, of course, the teachers who have prepared the classes for this year. Thank you very much. Our superintendent is once again Steve Sorokubo, and he will be speaking briefly following this morning's messages. At this time, I'd like to ask Mikami Sensei to say a few words.
Good morning, everyone. So welcome back to the school year of our Dharma school. So it's been a long time since we met last time due to this pandemic. So I've been missing everybody. So I'm so happy that we can finally connect through this online service again. So yeah, although we cannot see a face-to-face yet, we are always connected to each other with Amida Buddha's golden chain of love. So let us appreciate it again together again. Thank you very much. So welcome back to the school year of this service. Thank you.
Our director for this morning, I guess our manager of the service is Mas Nishimura. And so if we could have a word from our president, Mr. Ed Nolohana, and then from our superintendent of Dharma School, Steve Sorokubo.
Hope everybody could hear me. Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to the 2020-2021 Dharma School year. We'll be starting this year holding classes online. And this is the first time for some of the teachers to be holding online classes. So bear with us as we learn together going forward. We have you and your family's health as our top priority. So we'll keep you informed as the county and state regulations begin to change. So thank you again and have a great year at Dharma School this year. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Nolohara. And if now we could have a few words from our superintendent of Dharma School, Steve Sorokubo.
Good morning. My name is Steve Sorokubo, and I'm the superintendent of the San Jose Betsuing Dharma School. On behalf of the ministers, the Dharma School teachers, and the Dharma School Parents Organization, I'd like to welcome you to the 2020-2021 school year. With the virus situation here in the Bay Area and throughout the Buddhist Churches of America, the BCA, We are not holding in-person temple gatherings for the foreseeable future. We'll keep you updated as things change. For those of you who wish to be a part of the San Jose Betsain Dharma School, our regular Sunday schedule will look something like this. At 9:30 a.m. Pacific time, we will live stream our temple service via YouTube. The Dharma School service will be about 30 to 40 minutes long and is geared toward the Dharma School families. However, friends and anyone else interested are welcome to tune in or watch later at a convenient time. After completion of the service, the kids, preschool through high school, and the teachers will be dismissed to their online classes via Google Meet. Here, they will join their classmates in the weekly lessons and projects, and these classes will finish around 11 a.m. In future weeks, we will add more features to our live stream services to make it more like attending an in-person service. Things like a chairperson and music are planned, and if you have any suggestions, feel free to let us know. Finally, if you have any questions about Dharma School, feel free to contact me or the Betsain office. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kubo and Mr. Nohara, for those words of welcome. It will be very interesting as we continue to learn how to manage this remote learning here at the Betsain. I hope you will be patient with us as we share the Dharma with everyone. Thank you for being here this morning. If we would please close with Gassho and Nembutsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Thank you very much, everyone. Hope you get to class okay. For those of you who are staying on, we'll begin our 10:10 service at 10:10. See you then. Let's see.
Oh, really?
No, it looks like nobody's set and they're forever the same.
Oh, yeah, right, because of this.
Because of the COVID and all that.
Yeah.
I still don't know anybody who knows anybody who's got it.
Oh, yeah.
Mostly don't.
Mhm.
But if you have a rag, I'll wipe that off. If you don't, that's okay.
Oh, yeah.
You have no
Oh,
rag.
let's do that by ourselves. Yeah, thank you very much.
Well, I want to sit down here for a while and meditate.
really?
If you have a rag, I'll just wipe off.
Oh, yeah, sure.
I'll bring it back.
Yeah, okay.
If you don't want to, that's okay.
Yeah.
I'll just stand right here.
Yeah, so I'll give it that. Right.
Just write it down.
Yes, okay. Thank you for waiting. So we have only.
That'll be fine.
Yeah.
You don't have to worry about me. See, I'm wearing a white Mongol watch. I have plenty of money. I'm not going to take anything.
Oh, it's okay. So, yeah.
I'll bring it and put it right back
Yeah,
there.
please. Yeah.
Or maybe by the corner, and then no one will trip on up when they step out.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Oh, is that? Oh, that's for you.
No, this is for you.
Okay. Anyway, I used to come down here and I bought a samurai sword from a guy across the street who died. I have about 20 swords and maybe 3 or 4 kudos. And I was in Jeff Elmore. And a man over there, God put us together. And he was with the Japanese Royal Air Force. And was like, I have to check that with him. And we were both in the same village in Vietnam. Only he was there during World War II. They flew and landed in Vietnam and then flew to Singapore to Tula. And I was there in 1969 in the Vietnam War. And that's a Bronze Star and 7th Battalion Ranger badge. And we were both in some heavy combat. And God put us together because I was in the backyard saying, I'll never get anything I want serving you. Because I gave my whole heart and did it all and came back. My wife told me she forgot she had a husband at the airport. They all hated us. And the message that God gave me was that in this life, if you give your heart 100% to defend your people and your way of life, when you come back to your people, they're all at Disneyland, they're all playing with the doggy and swirling the wine glass, and none of them understand that you were willing to give your life for them. So you're separated from society. Like he was over there, and the soldier is not a person who gets to be a politician, who gets to make a decision to look good and get reelected. And sometimes they fix problems, but not always. And the financial man, he does it for the money and try to make people money and advance a lot. But a soldier, he has to decide what is the right thing to do. This is what's right. It might get me killed, but I have to do it. And he fought with the Shinto spirit for Japan, and when the war was over, there was no Japan. MacArthur was there. And I fought for America and grew up in Campbell and believed in freedom and liberty and our rights, and I came back and everybody was doing drugs and listening to music and falling down into nothing. I was true to my wife, married for 28 years, but it was a struggle because I think they were all afraid of something. And over there was a village where all the women and children got left alone. He wants you.
Good morning.
I'm going to go clean that house.
Thank
I
you.
meditate out there.
Oh, yeah.
And ever since I bought it, the message was that the only place you have is in your heart and soul. In this world.
Yeah.
You have a good day.
Yeah,
You
you
too.
too.
Thank
I'm in
you.
the service.
Oh, yes.
I used to
Yeah,
meditate
from
out here
10
for,
Yeah.
since I came back from Vietnam, I think I promised the end of that thing down there.
I see.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
yeah.
I keep forgetting I have to ask Mike to make a new,
Oh, yeah. Mike Murray?
she does carpentry work.
Oh, really? He made it?
No, this one, Jimmy Yamaichi, I think.
Wow, so skillful.
Okay.
Shall we start with from Kasho again?
Yeah, we started Kasho and then it's about another 6 minutes here. So I'll let you finish.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, that
Yeah,
one
I have to-
is
yeah, I
a
have
little
to-
fast.
This way, I'm centered.
There are people always wear the cap with the
Yeah,
soldier cap.
yeah.
So government provide the kind of cap for their.
While we were in the service,
Um,
some of them will keep that from the time they were in the service. And others, they just get new one. But he's been dusting,
yeah.
which is good. Okay, so it's kind of gonna be like regular Sunday service. So, but welcome and something to sit here. And I'll read the three treasures in a brief talk. And then if you would say a few words.
No.
Okay. You hold on.
No.
Okay.
I haven't prepared anything.
Okay. Then I'll ask
Hi.
Steve Onishi to come
Oh.
and speak.
I went to shake, I did have one, and I went to shake the thing with, so I'm gonna do the whole table.
Oh,
I'm gonna
yeah,
do the
thank
whole-
you very much.
I'm gonna do the whole table.
Oh, really?
And then, you can see, you know what it is? It's ash from the fires.
Oh, yeah. You need a new one?
No, it's okay. I just shook it off out here, and it flew right off the end.
Oh, thank you very much.
No problem. Sometimes, I know I spoke a lot there, but I think a few people, stuff in there. If you have a new one, but I think I can put this back together. I shook it, and it flew off. There it is.
Oh, okay.
Here we go.
Mhm.
You know, all the fires.
Oh, yeah.
Man, it's terrible what's happening. I knew the guy in, the guy who had the shaved ice and the crepes, we both have the same portions. He's got a 79, we both have 79 911s, and so I used to kid with him. So it's sad to see what's happening. All the places that people, families, so many people have lost their, it's terrible. Oh, I love it. Go ahead. I lost half my hair and get not many. Too many rockets in work. Go ahead.
Good morning. Welcome to this morning's 10:10 service. I hope everyone is safe, doing well. It has been a very challenging time with the pandemic, distance learning, and now the fires. We have been all under a great deal of stress. Hopefully, you find this time here in our service an opportunity to kind of relax a little bit, hear the teachings of the Buddha, the reassurance of Amida Buddha, and be able to share what we are able to experience and learn here in the Hondo. We'll begin this morning's service with the reading of Sambujo, followed by Juseike. So if you'll please join us in the reading of Sambujo and Juseike. If you please join now in the reading of the three treasures. Hard is it to be born into human life. Now we are living it. Difficult is it to hear the teachings of the Blessed One. Now we hear it. If we do not deliver ourselves in the present life, no hope is there that we shall be freed from suffering and sorrow in the ocean of birth and death. Let us reverently take refuge in the three treasures of the truth. I take refuge in Buddha. May we all together absorb into ourselves the principle of your way to enlightenment and awaken in ourselves our supreme will. I take refuge in Dharma. May we all together be submerged in the depth of thy doctrine and gain wisdom as deep as the ocean. I take refuge in Sangha. May we all together become units in true accord, in your life of harmony, in a spirit of universal brotherhood, free from the bondage of selfishness. Even through ages of myriads of kalpas, hard is it to hear such an excellent, profound, and wonderful doctrine. Now we are able to hear and receive it. Let us thoroughly understand the true meaning of Tathagata's teaching. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida. Good morning and welcome to this morning's service. We began our regular school year service schedule this morning. We had a Dharma school service at 9:30, and now we're back into our 10:10 adult English service. It's our first day, and so we are experiencing the kinds of things that we would experience on a first of anything. And we've had some, I wouldn't say hiccups, but certainly some challenges in this morning's presentation of the service. But I'm glad you're able to be here and join us for this morning service. It has been a difficult few months, beginning with the pandemic, and then now these fires that have caused us to stay indoors because of the poor air quality. For those who are near the fire, have had to prepare to evacuate, and in some cases have had to evacuate. Throughout the BCA here on the West Coast, many people are facing the challenges that evacuation brings to each of them. I hope you are able to do well under these circumstances. Buddhism again is very simple. It's about how do we address these difficulties that we are experiencing. It's not to say that Buddhism will simply make them disappear if we do something, but it's how we experience the difficulties that Buddhism can help us to rethink how we are experiencing these challenges that we face. Again, it doesn't make them disappear. That would simply be wishful thinking. What it does do again is it changes the way that we might be able to experience this. There is no doubt that when someone loses something, whether it's property or the life of someone that we care about, we are faced with that difficulty that Shakyamuni Buddha pointed to. Difficulties that are not simply, we're able to simply set aside, but difficulties that are deep within our lives, we cannot simply dismiss and say, oh, things are going to be better. Sometimes we try to do that. We try to encourage our friends and neighbors when they experience difficulties. We say, well, things are going to get better. Eventually, we'll put this behind us and things will be better. But that kind of, I think, separates us or sets aside the importance of what is being experienced in that time. The grief at loss, the uncertainty of what the future might bring. And I think it's important for us to take in that as we are looking toward a time when these difficulties will be resolved. When someone dies, we should allow ourselves the time to reflect, the time to grieve at that loss. I think the grief that, or the frustration that we're all kind of feeling, having to shelter in place, and now with the fires raging around us, that frustration and perhaps anger that comes from the grief that we are experiencing, the grief at loss of freedom, the loss of being able to step outside and take a breath of fresh air and not be concerned of both the unhealthy air or of coming into contact with the coronavirus. Those kinds of boundaries in our behavior can be very stressful, can lead to our feeling anger, feeling separated, isolated, feeling as though things are not going the way that we would like to have happen. But if we look at the loss of someone, if we consider the grief that we are experiencing because of someone's death, if we think about that, it's because we care, because we have shared something with that life that continues to be important for us, that we grieve at that loss. If we had no relationship with the person who died, that experience would not be as profound or as important for us. But because we shared life, because their life is a part of who we are, a part of how we see and experience the world, when that life is no longer with us, no longer a part of our life, we grieve at that loss. But when we look at that grief, again, it's a result of having shared life with that person. It's the same way with when we lose property, when we lose something that has been a part of our life for such a long time. It's not that we simply say, oh, it's okay, things will get better in the future. And hopefully it will. But it doesn't acknowledge the importance of that place or that thing which we might have lost. And in acknowledging that, it affirms the joy that we might have experienced in that relationship that we share with individuals or with things that are a part of our lives. A couple of weeks ago, we were on the very edge in Berryessa. We were kind of on the edge of this warning zone for evacuation. The evacuation zone was still farther away from us. There are people in Milpitas who 680 kind of separated the evacuation zone from the warning zone, and they were preparing to evacuate. But for us, we were on the warning zone was still a little ways away from us, and the evacuation zone was beyond that. But we were starting to think about what would we take with us should we be required to evacuate. And it's so difficult to think about all of these things that we have in our lives that bring meaning and importance, recognition, value, all of these things that are so important to us as human beings that we think about as being a part of our lives. How do we sort that out? How do we decide what to keep and what to possibly lose? And kind of one of our first stage was pick up the animals, take their crates and food, and then go. So our pets would be the first thing that we would take with us. And I think that's pretty much true of anyone who has pets. We have so many other things in the household. I think we kind of weren't able to really decide what, and that's why we settled on, yeah, let's pick up the pets and take them with us. But if something did happen to our home, and if we lost all of the things, all of the memories and the photos and homework, the schoolwork that Kathy kept over the years of the girls, or some of the costumes and some letters that were kept, all of these things were to suddenly disappear, and irreplaceable. It would be important to think about how we see ourselves. Not so much whether those articles define who we are, but what is it about ourselves in our relationship to those articles, to those photos, to those things that bring back so many memories. We still have it within ourselves. Whether that article is no longer able to hold in our hands, those memories are still a part of who we are. Maybe perhaps not as detailed, but they have helped to shape who we are, how we see the world, how we experience the world. When we think about these times, it's certainly scary. We might lose everything. But that's true most of the time. We might lose people who we care dearly about, either through separation or through death. But who am I in that? What do I carry in my heart and mind? How has these things that are around me influenced the way that I see the world? When Shakyamuni Buddha taught the Four Noble Truths, the second of the Four Noble Truths was that we need to kind of look more clearly at the world around us, not to be dispassionate about it, but to recognize that our preferences have a great deal to do with what we see and how we engage the world. And to begin to acknowledge that is a way of beginning to see things as they are. In Jodo Shinshu, the vow of Amida Buddha that affirms all beings of the eventual resolution of difficulties, that assurance allows us to look more openly at how we see and understand the world. To begin with, the point from which we can begin is to begin to recognize that I see the world through what I like and what I don't like. If I can begin to do that, then I can begin to perhaps recognize that maybe how I see the world is not as clear as I might believe it to be. In these very challenging times, there's all kinds of things going on. Not just the pandemic, with the pandemic and the fires that are going on around us, the elections that are going on around us. We live in a very stressful time. Sometimes we want to just be able to settle in and maybe watch a good movie and eat some popcorn. We do that regularly. And if that's what we are able to do to become settled, that's okay. We should take that time to allow ourselves to set aside the busyness of our everyday life, to allow ourselves that time to take in the importance of what is taking place around us, to allow ourselves the opportunity to look more openly at the world around us. There is that line in the Shoshinge where Shinran says a person of Shinjin realizes that birth and death is nirvana, not two things, not two sides of the same coin, but the same. But that we experience nirvana as samsara because of the way that we see the world. And sometimes, if we can set aside our own preferences, our own prejudices, and simply see things as they are, being mindful can help us to kind of perhaps unburden, even for a little while, the anxiety and frustration, the anger, disappointment. Set aside all of those characteristics that of the world of samsara that keeps us bound in this cycle of birth and death. To set those aside even for a little while and to take in life simply as it is. Again, it doesn't put the fires out. It doesn't end the pandemic. It doesn't cause anything to be different. But it does cause me to be changed. There is a phrase to turn the rubble, broken tile into gold. That tenzu transformation is not changing the world around me, but it's changing how I experience that world. Changes me, changes the way that I see the world. Today, as we begin this school year, for many of you, you've continued through the summer, participating in our 10 o'clock service. This is the first of these 10:10 services that will take us through June. In the meantime, we'll continue to make adjustments to how we conduct these services. They'll still be online or streamed Sunday morning. We are still under this shelter in place, so Sunday mornings it's just Mikami Sensei and I who conduct these services, but we also have people assisting us as we conduct these services, assisting us online. Master Shimura, and this morning, Ed Nodohara and Steve Surakubo joined us to give their messages to the Dharma School students from their home and zoomed into our services. We're joined by Steve Onishi, and who is the president-elect. He'll be taking on responsibilities of the Bitsing's presidency come January. And then Sumi Tanabe, who is here also in our Zoom session. But Mas Nishimura has had to go to his class, which he teaches, as well as Ed Nodohara. And so we're trying to manage this service here from our iPad here in the Hondo. So we're adapting, hopefully in a way that continues to be able to provide an opportunity for us to gather together to share on the Dharma. As we continue to learn from our experiences, hopefully we'll be able to add to our experience here in the Hondo on Sunday mornings. At this time, I'd like to ask Steve Onishi if he would say a few words. Steve, you need to unmute yourself, and I'm going to. Okay.
Okay, very good. Thank you, Sensei. On behalf of the board of directors, I just wanted to take this opportunity to thank everyone for joining us again. This has been a very interesting year. We've learned a lot, and we still have a lot to learn. But as far as the streaming services through the summer, I was very encouraged by the number of people who actually sat in on these things, anywhere from, I think, like, as low of 50 or 60 people up to several hundred. And then as I think about it, that's not only people, that's viewers or people who are sets that are tuned in. So like at my house here, my wife and I are both watching this. So it's really the number of people participating is actually much higher. So that's very, very encouraging. And hopefully we can make use of this kind of technology in the future. But again, as everyone's been mentioning, it's just been obviously just a crazy year, right? The pandemic, all the social unrest that's been going on, and now lately the wildfires and the smoke. I mean, smoke is ridiculous. I hope people are staying safe, staying inside, staying away from the smoke as much as you can. But this pandemic, along with the pandemic comes this new thing for us, this shelter in place. It's something that's been difficult to get through. Fortunately, I'm really lucky. I'm able to work from home, so I've been very lucky in that respect. But even that shelter in place brings lots of interesting things, right? I don't know if you can't tell, but my hair, I haven't had a haircut since like January. So I've been getting used to having long hair again. It's kind of fun. It reminds me of my old high school days. But today is the first day it really kind of started bothering me, because this is the first time I've had to wear a collared shirt. So now the long hair in the back with the collared shirt is making me crazy. But someday we'll be able to meet again in person in the church. I'm looking forward to that day to be able to see everyone again. But along with that, right, like I said, the shelter in place has brought a couple different things. And one of them obviously is, we've not had in-person services. Again, that's for safety reasons, keep everyone safe. But the other safety reason that you don't think about is now you don't have to stand outside, and as the doors open at 10 o'clock, you won't get run over by the stream of kids running out of the Hondo going to their classrooms. Again, that's something that I miss. I miss seeing everybody there. It's unclear when we'll be able to meet again in the Hondo, but be assured that we won't allow people back in until it's definitely safe to do so. So please take care of yourself. And again, we hope to see you again in the near future. Greenbaum, thank you.
Thank you, Steve. We look forward to Steve's leadership come January when the responsibilities transfer from Ed Nolohara, who took actually an extra year as a president, and he will be transferring that responsibility to Steve come January. Thank you very much, Steve, and thank you everyone for your continued support of the Bitsing, continued participation in the limited activities that the Bitsing has to offer. We hope to be able to present more of opportunities for everyone. Last week we had the Dharma message by Sasaki Sensei, who was speaking from Kyoto, and Adam Sensei, who was translating for him, translating from San Mateo, and we were broadcasting here from the Bitsing. This evening, again at 5 o'clock, the San Mateo temple will have a Zoom session. And I think if you go to the San Mateo Buddhist temple, they will have the link there to participate in their Zoom session with Sasaki Sensei and Adam Sensei translating for him. So there are opportunities, not the same, but opportunities to share and learn. I'd like to also encourage everyone to go to the Buddhist Churches of America's website. They have a lot of programs available online. CBE is working hard to schedule seminars, discussions, just a lot of opportunities to share the Dharma, and Bishop Harada's message is there at the website of the Buddhist Churches of America. So please take a look at that. And there are, and again, all the temples, well, most of the temples are streaming. So you can take a look at YouTube and look for a temple of your choice. So again, from the Bitsing, not the Bitsing, but the Buddhist Churches of America's website, you'll find many of the temples listed that are streaming their services. So although we cannot meet together in person, there are opportunities to participate in. And they're being offered free of charge, no travel. One of the nice things about having remote speakers is the Bitsing, I can invite them and not worry about the Bitsing having to pay for airfare, or transportation, or housing. So I'm asking people to come to participate, and it hopefully will be an interesting year. So the pandemic puts us in circumstances that we're becoming more familiar with, but unusual. But that also offers us opportunities. And so I hope you will look at, again, not so much by what we are missing, and we certainly can appreciate that, but what opportunities are being presented at this time as well. And I hope you will be able to enjoy those opportunities. Again, thank you everyone for being here this morning. Earlier, the Dharma School teachers and the Dharma School students and parents for coming together for that first Dharma School service, and to all of you who continue to participate. Thank you very much. As we conclude, will you please join in Gassho and Nembutsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Thank you, everyone. Please take care. See you again.